Boxing, more than any other sport, tends to create these seismic shifts and send these waves of emotion around the globe. Joe Louis did it, Muhammad Ali did it. For the Filipino people, Manny Pacquiao has done it.
This is a great opportunity and privilege to fight Bradley again. And I choose Bradley because he's different than before than we had the last fight.
Down goes Rios on an uppercut following 3 straight super solid body shots by Tim Bradley.
With Pacquiao and Bradley, their skills are so well matched that Pacquiao-Bradley III could very easily be the best of the 3 fights.
Both these guys have something to prove to themselves, for their legacy, for their history, for the rest of their lives. And you're gonna see how people behave when they have that on the line.
I think he's gonna come ready. I think he's gonna come hungry. And I think that he's gonna be set out to prove once again that he's one of the best fighters this era.
Look, the fire's coming. Are you ready for the fire? Look, we're firemen. Okay. We are firemen! You got it, Coach.
He knows he's on TV, he knows when the red light's on him. I think he likes acting.
I should know when the pressure, the light, he wants to call it the light is on. At the end of the day, I'm not a guy that's gonna be taking selfies in the runway before my fight is going into the fight of the millennium, where so much is on the line. So yeah, you think I care about what the freak, that guy that acted that way, that behaved that way, that I care what he thinks of me? No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Tim Bradley, going into the Manny Pacquiao fight, was always considered one of the top pound-for-pound fighters. He had wiped out basically the division, and Manny Pacquiao was a dream for him.
See Bradley doing his best to not let the moment get to him, but he is clearly tightly wound.
Back then, when I fought Manny the first time, I was a young guy, full of confidence, never been beaten. Felt like it was my destiny to beat a great champion in Manny Pacquiao. Felt like it was my time.
In the arena, they were playing Pacquiao highlights. Tim Bradley's highlights were ordinary fighter highlights. Pacquiao's highlights are once-in-a-generation highlights.
It was really nerve-wracking. I was super nervous going into that fight. With the media and the amount of media that I did, it just felt like I was getting ready to fight King Kong. I felt so nervous, I felt like throwing up. I was like, oh my goodness, I never felt this way before. Like, what am I about to get into?
One night, this incredible ride that Pacquiao's taken us all on will come to an end. Can Tim Bradley make tonight that night?
To be perfectly frank, I thought it was one of Manny's better fights. It was a dominating performance.
Hard left hand by Pacquiao down the pipe. Gets another straight left hand onto Bradley's jaw.
When you talk about a guy outboxing another guy, Manny outboxed him. I mean, it was no question. Manny throws that right jab, keeps the left hand back, and he was killing him with straight left hands all night.
Manny said he would run in the fight, and I thought he will come forward at times also, so we're ready for both.
Well, he wasn't only faster, his hand speed certainly was faster, but Manny was using angles like he did against De La Hoya, which he thought he was ahead so far on the scorecard. There was no reason to hurt the guy.
Manny seems to be taking the first 2 minutes off of some rounds and then flurrying in the third minute of the round.
Yes. I thought my jab was very effective. I thought my body shots were very effective. I thought a few of my uppercuts were very effective. I felt that Manny would come on later in the rounds, at probably like the last minute, and try to steal the round with his flurries, and he missed a lot of shots. There were some rounds where he was dominant, but there was a lot of rounds where he missed a lot of punches. And I controlled the action from the whole way through. I fought every minute of every round.
Hey, you're executing the left really nice. I want you to keep doing that. Every time he shoots that left, I want you to lean down, but come up with something, baby. You know how it is. This guy has a name. If you go the distance, you need to put up the extra work, man.
I was like, I'm right here with this dude. I've seen this before. It's nothing new. You know, it's just not like I'm in here with God or in here with someone that's super special.
When I watched the fight with no vested interest, I thought that Pacquiao won. I thought he won.
At the end of the round, you say to yourself, who did more damage? You know, fighter A or fighter B? And that's who you give 10 points to, and then the other guy gets 9. And Pacquiao-Bradley won. There was no question in my mind that Manny was doing more damage in each and every round. He won that fight big.
Jerry Roth scores about 115-113 for Pacquiao. CJ Roth scores it 115-113 for Bradley. And Dwayne Ford scores it 115-113 to the winner by split decision. And new WBO welterweight champion of the world,
Timothy Bradley has scored an upset split decision victory over Manny Pacquiao. God only knows how.
I think it's a one-sided fight, and then I was surprised when I heard the announcement.
Did you think you won the fight?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. I'm showing professionalism, being professional, you know, in sports. When you lost, then accept it.
How does it feel to have the official verdict to have won, to have beaten Manny Pacquiao?
I mean, it feels great. It feels great, but I'm not satisfied. You know, you can hear the boos in the crowd. You know, everybody in the crowd think I lost the fight. I know it's predominantly Pacquiao fans, but you know what? Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
When I had a vested interest, I watched it and I turned the sound off. I saw at least 6 rounds that you could easily give to Timothy Bradley.
I thought that was a very, very close fight. In fact, sitting at ringside, I was one of the few people who scored it for Tim Bradley. I'm not going to quarrel with anybody who thought Manny won that fight, but I go nuts when I hear people say, oh, it's the worst decision I've ever seen.
I give Bradley 1, and if I'm really generous, 2 rounds.
What I told you.
Yeah, you told me.
Before.
I know.
I always told you, he's gonna run.
Yeah, you told me that.
He's gonna run, huh?
I said no.
Right. He's gonna run.
Dude, 100%. I know who to listen to next time.
Gusto ko, rematch. Bahala, huminto ka na sa pagboksing. Ako nang nanay nag-decide. Rematch kayo na. Punta ako, sama ako sa Las Vegas. Sama ako sa laban nyo. Rematch. Daming nagalit dito sa Pilipinas eh. Lalo na sa Mindanao. Galit, nagawayan ng mga tao. Galit sila. Kay ikaw ang panalo. Bakit silang natalo? Nako, siniswerte talaga sila.
Huminahon ka. Mag-usap tayo dyan pagbalik ko.
Tim Bradley wanted to be catapulted somewhere. And after the result of that first fight, I think it brought him lower than he's ever been.
So what did Tim Bradley do after the Pacquiao fight? Well, by his own admission, he was driven to depression by the response to the Pacquiao fight and the feeling on the part of so many that he was not, in fact, the winner.
I went into that fight, you know, with the game plan that I had to knock this guy out because of the circumstances from the first fight.
Bradley told Pacquiao, I'm gonna knock you out. Pacquiao said, we'll see you in the ring.
I got out of my element and I wasn't myself.
The second fight that we had is, my memory is, I'm more improved than the first one. I think it's more punches that I throw that compared to the first fight.
Pacquiao landed a 1-2. Backs Bradley up, goes to the flurry again. Pacquiao unloads a combination, driving Bradley back with the jab. Pacquiao lands a left.
The first 5 rounds of that fight, Tim was doing exactly what he wanted.
And Bradley with the right hand momentarily lifted Pacquiao off his feet.
He was leading on the judges' scorecards 3 rounds to 2. He was very well positioned as a superbly conditioned athlete to come on strong in the late rounds. Then he tore a muscle in his calf. He couldn't move properly. And what he was reduced to doing was backing into corners and hoping Manny would come in and Tim could then just hurl something at him and get lucky and clip him on the jaw.
But as Harold Letterman pointed out, Bradley keeps backing up. Pacquiao feints, Bradley backs up.
It was a bad game plan because of the injury. If I was trying to just stay in the fight, I was trying to just, give the fans what their money worth and be able to, I knew that I wouldn't be able to come back and really win that fight with the injury I sustained, but, I was just putting on a show at the end.
Bradley's trying to pull the Marquez on Pacquiao, have him come in to set him up for the big shot.
Hard left hand by Pacquiao. Thunderous shot there. And another hard left hand.
It's backfired so far this round.
So when and where will the third fight take place?
I hope not too long from now, and where it takes place, I don't care. I just want to be there.
I got more respect for that fight than the first one. It was from everyone. They respect me a lot more for the way I fought. They never seen Manny get hit with a lot of shots like that.
Manny's a much more experienced fighter. He's a much more skilled fighter. I don't take anything away from Bradley, but he's not in the same league as Manny. And I think we proved it again in the second fight.
When you're beginning this business as a fighter or later on maybe as a trainer, coach, you aspire to be the best. I mean, that's what makes it all worthwhile, whether you get there or not. But you're trying to get the same place that people in the NFL, people in MLB, people in the NBA, you're trying to get to the Super Bowl. And when you're given an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl, you want to make the most of it.
Teddy Atlas has been in boxing a long, long time. He was one of Mike Tyson's early trainers as an amateur. As the story goes, Teddy put a gun to Mike Tyson's head after Mike had acted inappropriately with Teddy's young sister-in-law. Teddy has trained fighters like Shannon Briggs, Michael Moore. His history has been that he'll start with a fighter, he'll move the fighter along very nicely and develop him, and then there's a falling out.
Listen to me, you're not gonna have a real friendly corner. I'm proud of you, but you're not gonna have a friendly corner if you keep letting them go slow, all right? You're gonna make them go faster? All right.
There are people who say that Teddy Atlas plays the camera when he's in the corner. I think Teddy Atlas is a professional, and I'm confident that whatever Teddy Atlas does in the corner, he's doing it to motivate his fighter.
In the years of boxing, I've never spoken to Teddy Atlas before. I've never been on his radio show. I never knew he had one.
We're talking about his last fight with Vargas, where he got hurt. So I asked, do you know why you got hurt? He said, I got hit with right hand. I said, but do you know why? And he said, could you tell me? So I told him.
He's like, what do you do when a guy squats down in front of you? I said, I don't know. He was like, you squat down with him. Every time a guy squats down in front of you, what he's trying to do, he's trying to rob you, Tim. You think he's going to your body, but he's not. He's coming over the top. It's a sneak shot, Tim. Go back and see what you do. The guy's right in front of you, he squats down, you roll your shoulders back, and you try to counter with a right hand. You did that the whole fight. He set you up for that punch. And I said, you know what, for someone that's not my trainer, that can give me that much detail and that much insight on me as a fighter, that's amazing. And I said, I want Teddy to train me.
The reason that I said yes to him was I thought I could help him. That's what is at the core of a teacher, is that you can help somebody.
Brandon Rios is at his best. He's a relentlessly, ruthlessly attacking fighter who's able to impose his offense on his opponent to devastating effect. In Tim Bradley, he has an opponent who may be vulnerable, who just switched trainers to the famed Teddy Atlas, but still sometimes we see when a fighter does that, he takes one step backward before able to take 2 steps forward.
Rios hadn't been knocked out by anybody. Rios had endured every power shot, fought every guy out there, was relentless.
Going in, we understood what was in front of us, a tough, never say die guy that was resolute at coming forward. If you know what someone's gonna do, you can prepare. And if you can prepare, you can win. We had two choices in that fight. Time them on the way in, or make them miss first and counterpunch them. And then move around them. Because we understood in the predictability department of Rios that we could depend on was that he was always gonna come to you down these lanes.
I had to be able to withstand the fire because Rios is gonna come all night.
Are you ready for the fire? We're firemen. We are firemen! The heat doesn't bother us. We live in the heat. We train in the heat. Yeah, let's go. It tells us that we're ready. We're at home. We're where we're supposed to be. Flames don't intimidate us. What do? We control the flames. We control them. We move the flames where we want to. And then we extinguish them. Control the outside.
When I was on the inside with Rios, I didn't panic. I was calm. I knew exactly where I needed to be, and I was comfortable doing it.
Good shot by Tim.
What a body shot.
Yep.
Bradley not only picked him apart, but then out-bullied him and beat him to the body. Just broke him down.
Down goes Rios on an uppercut following 3 straight super solid body shots.
That is just determination and skill, and I don't think we've ever seen anybody do that to Brandon Rios.
Brandon's got a lot of heart, but he's taking a lot of punishment from a really good fighter who is fighting his best. And Brandon can't even throw. Down again, that's gonna be the end of the fight. A knockout victory for Tim Bradley with 11 seconds left in round 9.
You can't do better than that. First time out with a new coach.
Well, you know, he tells a good story and so forth, but the thing is about the opponent wasn't in that good a shape. So I really can't give him credit for that fight.
Rios came in like a slob. He hadn't trained for the fight. He wasn't in shape. So I think that was more a question of Brandon Rios coming in unprofessionally than it was Teddy Atlas's influence.
I think one of the things that people don't talk about is the fighter's psyche. Right now, he's in the zone. He has incredible confidence, mental confidence, with Teddy Atlas in his corner. And that swagger and that cockiness is a game changer for an athlete.
I'm delighted to be here in Mexico City. The story here today is the 3 Hispanic fighters that we will be featuring on the April 9th card. They are the stars of the future. Jose Ramirez demonstrates the great contribution that Mexicans have made to the United States. Oscar Valdez will fight his toughest fight against the former world champion Evgeny Gradovich in a really big crossroads fight. Finally, Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez is looking to be the first Mexican to win a world championship in a weight division as high as super middleweight.
The thing here is that Mexico needs champions. We have been in a champion crisis, to say it some way. I think Oscar Valdez and also Gilberto Ramirez, including probably Jose Ramirez, can be those champions.
¿Qué le dicen? They say in Mexico, they say if you're left-handed, you're not natural. But, you know, it helped me because they made me they made me a lot of things right-handed when I was little. And then now as a boxer, I think I can do both things. I'm ambidextrous now.
Now Ramirez puts together a combination. Hang on. Edwards not feeling it. He's in trouble. Edwards in trouble in the final 5 seconds.
Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez came from Mazatlan, Sinaloa. Sinaloa is one of the main spots for Mexican boxers. A lot of great boxers came from Sinaloa. That's what Zurdo Ramirez is.
April 9th is the most important fight of my career. There's no doubt about that. Big show. It's, the championship finally arrives. This is the fight of my life.
He has a perfect record. I think he has the skills, but we need to see if Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez is going to be able to get his title against one of the biggest guys in boxing, which is Arthur Abraham.
Arthur Abraham is just a great fighter, great champion, undefeated since 2013. We know how dangerous he is. We know how capable he is. We know it's a hard fight, but that's what we train for. That's what we train hard for. The opportunity is here, and I'm gonna do the best I can, and I'm taking that belt home. I think about this fight. I think about all that I need to do. I sleep, I eat. All waking moments are thinking about the fight, about what I need to do to win the fight. I know that this is what we work for, the opportunity to take home that win. All of us as a team, we want to take that win home.
Very proud of being a Mexican. It's an honor for me to represent Mexico in the Olympics, and it's an honor now to have my Mexican background. All my people support me. Well, ever since I was a little kid, I always dreamed of being a professional boxer and become a world champion. You know, I wanted to first go to Olympics. That was my main dream growing up. I went to my second Olympics, and I knew it was time to go professional if I wanted my career as a professional boxer.
I think that Oscar Valdez is one of those fighters that have boxing and also personality. He can be a good fighter and a good person to follow. He's a nice guy. He's a good-looking guy. He connects with people.
I consider myself as a smart fighter. You know, I can bring a lot of things to the table. If my opponent wants to brawl, I can brawl it out. If he wants to box, I can also box. That's one of the good things that the amateur background gave me. Learning to fight from different styles, not always having one style inside the ring.
I learned that Oscar Valdez is still humble, that he knows that Mexico or the world still need to see him fighting against someone big, against the biggest names in boxing. And Gradovich is one of those names that everybody in the boxing world want to see him fighting against.
Gradovich is a tough fighter. Goes forward, tries to make it a difficult fight. I can make the fight easy, I can make the fight hard. It all depends on the work we do in the gym.
I'm a fighter that always, gives it my all. I leave my heart in the ring. It's hard for me to take a step back. I'm a very hard puncher. I go to the body a lot.
I think that Jose Ramirez is a very humble guy, a very humble man. I expect him to fight well because he's training with Manny Pacquiao. He's training with one of the major names in the trainers, which is Freddie Roach.
Oh, another body shot. That is right on the liver, and he may not be able to recover.
Maybe 85% of my knockouts are with my left hook, and that's where the liver is at. Sometimes you face the tough fighters with a lot of heart, and they just don't fold, and they just keep coming forward. I think hitting him in the body just breaks him down.
He's not Mexican because he's American. He's born in America, but he's still being part of Mexico somehow. Because their father's born in Mexico, in Michoacan, a place with a lot of story and cultural stuff for Mexico. So this is very important for the Mexicans living across the border and for the Mexicans living here that have a dream to cross the border and find a new life.
Sad to say that after this, I'm going to retire and hang up my gloves. I remember when I started boxing, I entered into boxing because I want to help my family, my mother. That's how I know boxing. And now I end my boxing career in helping people, helping the Filipino people.
Whether or not this is Manny Pacquiao's last fight, history will remember Manny Pacquiao kindly. He was a great fighter. There was that 3-fight stretch where he fought Oscar De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Miguel Cotto. He would have been competitive with and might have beaten any fighter in his weight class ever.
Hard left hand, straight on the button by Pacquiao. Here comes Ferreira's corner. Ferreira's corner man is up on the apron. He's gonna step into the ring. That's a good decision.
Yeah, he's fighting for his legs, so we can at any time.
There's the second knockdown and the stoppage. Manny Pacquiao has knocked out the great Eric Morales. And he fires the straight left hand, and there's the punching bout. That momentarily backs Pacquiao up.
But he's been going straight back.
Third knockdown of the first round. How many more? Down he goes, and down goes Russell on a straight left-hand side.
Manny was just a great, great fighter. He really was. He is one of those fighters who transcended boxing. He has been a beacon of hope for 100 million people in the Philippines. He really has been the living embodiment of somebody who sincerely does good charitable works. He has done for the Filipino people what Muhammad Ali did for oppressed people all over the world. That makes him very, very special.
I want to establish that before I retire, my last fight is W, not L.
I don't think he's retiring. I know Manny very well, and I know Manny's running for senator right now, and for the senator of his country to defend his title would be like one of Manny's dreams. He is the best guy I've ever met in this game. I mean, we've been together for 15 years now. Most marriages don't last that long. Bradley was not the same fighter that he once was, and then the strategy isn't going to change too much from the last two because I thought we had good success the last two times we fought him. I am looking for a knockout, and I'm just going to try to convince Manny of that also.
I told you that he improved a lot, so I'm not saying that this fight is going to be easy for me, but it's harder than the last fight that we had.
I like Tim Bradley in this fight. I think he has a lot more left in his tank than Manny Pacquiao does. And mentally, he's more into the fight.
That's the smart person that I know and why he's a 5-time world champion. You take the principles of what I'm showing you, the guidelines of it, and then take it where you want to take it. It made sense to take it farther out. You took it farther out, so I couldn't hit you with that right hand.
It's hell during training. It's hell for everyone. It's not only me, it's my whole team. It's hell. It's nerve-wracking, it's patience, it's time, it's a lot that go into it.
I really wouldn't be here if I didn't believe that he can win this fight, and that in some ways it's his destiny to win the fight.
Teddy's an announcer on ESPN, and I guess he's a good coach. He's a good storyteller. I mean, I like the story about the firemen and how they're not scared of fire. It's kind of entertaining. He knows he's on TV. He knows when the red light's on him. I think he likes acting.
But I can tell you this, he's a better teacher than Freddie is. Freddie's not the brightest one of the bunch.
I should know when the pressure, the light, he wants to call it the light is on. I better know when it's on. I better know when it's time to say what needs to be said, to make a difference, to make sure that I'm just not a passenger in a car that might crash and might go off a freaking cliff. And at the end of the day, maybe the most important difference with me and that fella you just talked about, I'm not a guy that's gonna be taking selfies in the runway before my fight is going into the fight of the millennium, where so much is on the line. So yeah, you think I care about what the freak that guy that acted that way, that behaved that way, that I care what he thinks of me? No, I don't. I'm sorry.